I do want to, though, move on to the breaking news that we're following out of Israel. A deadly strike on a school housing refugees. This was in Gaza. Tonight, at least 16 people have been killed, more than 200 injured after explosions hit a school, which was serving as a UN shelter for families escaping the ongoing violence. Images from the scene of this attack are horrifying. You see pools of blood. And when you see those, they're horrifying and they're sobering. And then you remember that they are probably from children. It is still unclear who is responsible. The Israeli military says it is investigating, suggests a Hamas rocket could be to blame. The Palestinians call the strike, quote, brutal aggression from Israel. Carl Penhall is out front from Gaza City. And Carl, you were there and you saw that. You've seen so many things around the world. I'm sure, though, this is something you won't forget. Is there any indication of who did it?
It stumped us a little bit, as you say, both sides playing the blame game. What we saw there on the ground, and we went back to the school about 3 hours after it had been evacuated to see if we could get any evidence about what caused this blast.
Doctor, welcome to the program. We had a little bit of a conversation about the weapons that might be used in the Gaza Strip and whether they are internationally banned or not. Tell us about your initial findings, please.
Yes, we actually see three types of injuries. The majority are patients that have been inside houses that have been bombed. And this is actually also something we didn't see so much during the 2009 war, that they obviously target people's home during night. Last night we had large families coming in. We had more than 30 patients coming in at one time from houses that had been bombed. And these patients, of course, they are hit by the explosive or by a piece of building. Then, of course, we also see people injured from anti-personnel weapons that are directed towards killing people. We see conventional anti-personnel weapons. They are typically hit by a number of shrapnels and have multiple wounds. And we also see, like we did in 2009, victims of these so-called dime bombs, the dense inert metal explosives. These are small, lightweight bombs dropped from the drones. They are highly accurate, and they explode on the ground, and the patient is hit by kind of a metal vapor that, in a way, tear away their lower body. Very few of these patients survive, and if they survive, only half the man is left, actually.
There was a small blast area on the ground. It wasn't very deep. It was only about an inch deep. Nothing to speak of in terms of a large crater or anything. We saw shrapnel that had pockmarked the walls of the school from just a few inches off the ground right up to about 25 foot in the air. The blast radius looked to be about 30 to 35 yards around, but unclear what type of weapon would be used.
And we also see, like we did in 2009, victims of these so-called dime bombs, the dense inert metal explosives. These are small, lightweight bombs dropped from the drones. They are highly accurate, and they explode on the ground, and the patient is hit by kind of a metal vapor that, in a way, tear away their lower body.
Also on that front, unclear who would have fired that weapon. Now, we know that the Israeli military has suggested that possibly this was a Hamas rocket that misfired. Our security consultants tell us that if it had been a rocket, we could expect to find rocket parts at the blast site. We did not find any rocket parts at the blast site, nor could we saw signs that shrapnel had whacked into the walls, but we didn't find any conclusive evidence of what kind of shrapnel. Nothing that I could describe to you as commercially made military-grade shrapnel. The Israeli military say they will investigate. The UN says they will call for a full report, Erin.
Carl, thank you. And now, Israel's ambassador to the United States